Hello friends, welcome to Frostfire 101. I'm going to be going over my methods to make big points in this event. At the top, towards the front of this video, I'm going to be putting tips. I'm not going to read them to you because it's not a bad PowerPoint presentation. The objective of this method is to kill as many of the guards as possible because the top right two skills will give you big points. The third skill is going to give you points for occupying a vein. You only have to occupy it, you don't have to farm it the whole time. So you'll enter and leave immediately. The bottom right skill is going to be your bread and butter for when vein outbursts occur. Those outbursts are going to be another big boost to your score. Other than that, it's going to be pretty much just keeping your marches going at all times. You have to be very fast and make sure that you're keeping all 6 of your march queues plus your special queue going as much as possible. If you ever lose where you're at, wiggling your screen is a super effective method to find your way back to your base. Knowing where you're at on the map really helps you a lot with being able to judge march distances and if you're going to beat opponents to objectives. Using that 5th skill, you want to do that before you send out troops to gather the outbursts. Make sure you use it beforehand and only use it during vein outbursts. And now we fast forward through more of me waiting for the event to start. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Don't worry about troop composition or hero composition, it automatically selects them for you. Just hit attack. Go as quickly as you can, send them all out. Even if you're not going to make it, just keep sending your marches out. Using that search button will drag you around to nearby targets. Sometimes it drags you to the same target more than once, so make sure you're not sending 2 marches at the same creature. Selecting that top right skill, now I'm going to start getting orichalcum for killing them. The second skill, my troops are going to march faster so I can kill more of those guards. The level 2s will give you much more than the level 1s will, so make sure you prioritize those first. These little pop-up messages always mess with me whenever I do some of the different gathering. Make sure that you click that check mark box so they don't show up every single time and waste your time. If you look at the mines and they have the little man standing out there on the platform, whenever you attack them, they'll drop those loots. Gathering those loots is another source of income, and you can stockpile them by hitting multiple ones around you to save on some downtime in between your marches coming and going. As you saw, you can tell that I recalled my troops from that vein as soon as they got there. You don't want to waste time gathering whenever you need your troops out marching towards the patrols. Keeping an eye on your march queues on the left side of your screen helps you determine how quickly you need to send them back out. So finding targets, prioritizing hitting veins, and being prepared for the vein outbursts. It does give you a 1-minute warning before the outbursts appear, so make sure that you've got your troops on the way back. The second to last skill that you unlock helps you get more orichalcum whenever you are harvesting the vein outbursts. That's an important one to get. If you can get all 5 before the first outburst appears, you will get insanely more points than if you can't. This becomes difficult as more and more people become higher level. The game does kind of try and matchmake you with the states, so you will run into whales. However, there'll be whales proportionate within our state block, so our grouping of states that were created around the same time we were. This is another reason why you don't want to fight for the middle, because there's always going to be someone bigger and stronger that has spent more money that will hold the middle. If you can't take it, then you're just wasting time and heroes. You can also collect these loot spots from other people's veins as well, so make sure you keep an eye out for ones nearby your base. You will notice that they start to get further and further away, and there'll be fewer and fewer. They do respawn. I'm not sure exactly what the timing on this is, but if I hit a spot where there's too few and they're getting too far away, that's whenever I'll consider using my free teleport. That teleport does recharge, so just keep an eye on it on the right side of your screen. It is a valuable tool to use. However, the best use of it is going to be to harvest the outbursts and then teleport and get some more. So make sure that you're staying towards the outside ring where most players have gotten away from, because that's going to be your bread and butter, is all the unclaimed stuff out in the outer rim. Here's where I clicked another spot in the outer ring to try and look for a place to teleport. I looked for veins nearby that still had the guards up, as well as several level 2 patrols. That's going to be the optimal area that you want to teleport to. Still within that outer ring, plenty of unclaimed resources nearby me. And then there's the 1-minute warning that the outbursts are going to appear. So make sure that all your troops will be marching back within that 1 minute, because you want to have them at home before you send them out, so you can use that skill on the bottom left. You can see by the red dot that it's ready for me to use already. Here's where I start stockpiling. You see that I keep hitting the different veins around me. That way their loot is out. That's so while my marches are out gathering the outbursts, I can be sending my wagon out to collect all those. I'm trying to play as efficiently as possible and collect points, and with little to no downtime. You can see that the outbursts appear, so you can start to look around a little bit. Activate your skill. All my troops are coming home, and I'm going to start sending them out. It's okay that I've still got some marches on the way home, but I don't want to send them towards the outbursts until I've used the skill. You see, I'm also trying to make sure that I'm not selecting ones that have an occupant already. I don't want to fight anybody, I just want to get in and get out. If mine do get attacked, I try and recall the troops right before the attack hits, just in case somebody stronger than me is going after it. As they explode, my troops are coming home, and I'm going to send out another wave. You can usually get 2 to 3 cycles before the next vein outburst refreshes. You can see that they're starting to crop up again. There's going to be more that pop here in just a second. See, there they come. And I try and do a mixture of ones that are closer and the ones that are a little bit farther away. Going too incredibly far is inefficient, so keeping close to mid-range is where you want to be. It only takes approximately 18 seconds to gather, so this cycle will go pretty quickly. And you can see that my score is just boosting up and up and up and up. I will say here that I should have attacked at least one vein during this minute. However, I didn't. It's important that once every minute you hit a vein, even if it's just popping in and popping right back out, because that gets you that other skill activation. This is the last refresh. They do have a shelf life, so if nobody collects them, they will eventually disappear. So it's important to make sure that you're not trying to march too far on this third refresh, because they'll disappear before your troops can get there. If I feel like I can find a space nearby with a bunch of clustered vein outbursts, I'll teleport and try and get some more. Here you can see that my teleport wasn't off of cooldown yet, so I tried to just gauge getting as many as I could and then returning to my normal priority of killing the patrols. I also pay attention to where bases are as opposed to where I'm trying to go. I don't want to send my troops at something and have somebody be able to get there first. And I also don't want to send something towards there and have them attack it and knock me out of it. So you saw those ones that I was looking at down to the south. At this stage in the game, I'm in first by about 30,000. That lead will diminish quickly as the smelter in the middle opens during the last phase of the game. It is big points, however, it's possible to still beat them using this method. I'm transitioning back to killing my patrols now, and also hitting those veins once a minute. Clicking that spyglass button, like I said, can pull you back to the same ones over and over again. You want to make sure that you're not sending multiple marches at the same target. Make sure you keep looting the drops that happen after you hit a vein. If the veins start getting too far away, it's diminishing returns, so also make sure that you're staying close. You want to avoid having multiple march queues down at a time, not engaged in something. You can see here I've only got 4 out right now. If you can have all 6 of them doing something at any given time, that's what you want. The more efficient that you can move those, the better off you'll score. I started running out of nearby targets and nearby veins, so here's where I also looked for another teleport. I was looking at the proximity of veins and the proximity of level 2 patrols, and I even beat this guy to that one. Another strategy for those little loot piles that pop up whenever you hit a vein is to try and judge if you can get to the furthest one before someone else does, and then back to your base and to the closest one. That way you get at least 2 out of 3 of them before anybody else has the chance to do so. Oftentimes you won't have any competition, but if you pick the furthest one first, it'll make up dividends if somebody else does start to try and compete with you. You'll also notice that anytime I hit one of the veins, there's a little health bar that goes back up. Whenever you attack, your troops take a minute to heal. If somebody else hits in the time frame before that bar goes all the way back up, you're more susceptible to losing the battle. This can be critical if you ever do come in competition with another player, is trying to hit right in that green bar before it disappears. That means their health is back to full once it disappears. You'll notice later in this video that I get hit a couple times, and I'll show you where my heroes are healing. You can still send out those marches without heroes, but they're a lot easier to defeat if there aren't any heroes in that march. Here at the 10-minute mark will be the next vein outburst. So make sure that whenever you hit the 10-minute timer at the top of the screen, you've got your troops in or on their way back. That way you can hit your skill on the bottom left and have it available to use when the vein outbursts appear. Make sure that you're not using it too early, because you can get more marches out to those outbursts if you wait until right before you send. So my method to find the nearest outbursts is I kind of do a circle around my base, and as I go around I start to widen it out further and further. That way I can hit the nearest ones to me soonest and then work my way out towards the outer edges. You don't want to go very far for these, because it will waste all your time in marching, and then you won't be able to get a second or third rotation of your troops through these outbursts. Here we can see somebody's heading towards me, they're attacking, and I'm going to pull out right before they get there, because at least I got some of it. They didn't get the full thing, and also my heroes didn't get injured. Sometimes it's more efficient to run away than it is to get hit. Since I've got 2 times that people were trying to hit me, I decided to teleport and again go into the outer rim of the map, looking for a densely populated area with outbursts and mines. Unfortunately, I picked an area with a lot of people, so there were a lot of the veins were occupied, but I still had a decent run. I also did try to attack a few, and here's where I lost. And you can see on the right side that little thing with the hero's face on it pops up, and you can see recovering. It's a 5-minute recovery for heroes. Here's where I was pretty stupid, and I used 2 advanced teleporters instead of waiting that extra 10 seconds to get to a new spot with more veins. I used those teleporters because I wasn't paying attention to how long it was before I could teleport. Don't be like me. I did, however, get some great vein outbursts and was in a solid lead. However, that smelter opens up, and that's whenever the whales have a much bigger chance of winning the game. Like I said, it is possible to win out. However, it is a lot more difficult and you have to be a lot more efficient. This smelter opens up at 7 minutes left in the game, and you'll see that a lot of people will begin to leave. You'll see a lot of people move towards the middle or towards the inner rings to get to the higher level veins for gathering, and that's whenever you can do some of your best work. Fewer and fewer people will be after the veins and after the patrols. Here I am scoping out my last teleport of the game. I look for those level 2s, plenty of veins that aren't already captured, with the little guard standing out on the front porch. That'll help me get some last minute points in. If I had to say why I didn't take first place this time, it would be because I waited too long to teleport the first time, not long enough the second time, and this last time I could have been paying better attention to the clock to make sure that I had plenty of time to kill more of these level 2 guards. It's important to always run your troops up till the very last second, because you collect the reward from the patrol kills as soon as they're dead, not as soon as your troops return. So make sure that you always have your troops out and moving, even down to the last second. I wasn't watching the clock, so the end of this one caught me completely off guard. Luckily, I did my best and I stuck to the script and got pretty high ranked on this one. So following these methods, I hope you do better and we can all grow as an alliance.